lot of the times when people think about flower crowns, they immediately think about that very stereotypical Coachella flower child hair wreath. But I think you can probably find a million tutorials for those on YouTube already, so I wanted to try something a little different today. I'm really inspired by early Renaissance paintings where saints and prophets are depicted with these kind of glittery gold halos around their head. So today we're going to make something that's a little bit more ethereal and suspended. I'm going to start with a plastic hairband that I got from the craft store. I'm also going to use gold wire. That's what we're going to use to suspend the flowers with. I have metal cutters, flower clippers, and fabric scissors. Needle nose pliers, craft glue, and make sure you choose one that dries clearly. And I got these little freshwater pearls that I'm going to dot in to add a little bit more luminescence to the piece. And some hand-dyed silk that my friends at Silk and Sumac made to wrap the piece at the end. So I'm going to start off by cutting a whole bunch of pieces of wire at different lengths. And these are going to be the pieces that suspend the flowers above my head. I'm going to cut 10 pieces in total, and then I'm going to fold them in half as I'm wrapping them around. So that will give me 20 suspension areas in total. Starting in the middle, I'm going to take a piece of wire and just wrap it around like a twist tie until it's fastened into place and not moving around too much. Just keep spinning till it's quite tight. And I'm going to do that all the way around till I get to the bottom. I find it's really helpful to get a hairband that has teeth in it, because then the wire kind of sits snugly in between the teeth and doesn't move around too much. Come in with some needle nose pliers and just tighten all of my wire loops so that none of them slip when I'm adding the flowers. Once I've got everything secured a little bit more in place, I'm going to straighten out all of the wires so that I can kind of see the halo formation a little bit better. And once I have these all straightened out, I also want to make sure that all of my wire isn't at the exact same length, because I want the flowers to kind of be dotted irregularly around the head and not all sitting at the same level. For here, for example, they're all around the same size, so I'm going to come in here with my metal cutters and just kind of cut so that it's a little bit more irregular. I'm going to start adding these dried straw flowers, and you can do this with fresh flowers too, but just keep in mind it's probably only going to last a few hours if you go that route. So I'm going to cut them off right at the head, and I'm going to pick some really juicy pieces. I love these straw flower because they kind of remind me of glittery stars, very halo-esque. And I'm not leaving any stem. I don't want to see that stem. I just want to pick the really nice pieces. Now I'm going to come in with a little bit of craft glue, and I'm just going to dot it on the back of each of the flower heads before I stick it into the wire so that it globs around the wire. Ooh, this is disintegrating. I actually find it easier to stick the wire up the bottom of the flower rather than sticking it through the back. So I'm just kind of making little glue globs in between the petals and then stabbing the wire right into the middle of the flower. And it requires a very firm but delicate hand. You have to push kind of hard, but you also don't want the flower to disintegrate in your hands. So it may take a few tries, but you'll figure out what the right amount of pressure to apply is.
Dry a bit, and I'm going to come in and add some pearls. So I'm just going to stick them right into the top of the wire and then make a small loop to hold them in place, and then come in again with my needle nose pliers and just twist the wire so that this pearl is secure and in place. And then, once that's twisted, I'm just going to take my metal cutters and snip the excess.
So now I'm going to come in and just kind of pull each of these wire pieces apart so that the flowers encircle the head and the halo isn't super flat. And once I get the dimensions that I want, my last step is to wrap the whole piece in silk. And that's so that we can cover up the ugly plastic and also so that we can kind of hold the wire in place and cover our mechanics up a little bit. So I'm just going to start at one end and put a little glob of glue. And this is why it's important to have clear glue. And I'm just going to hold that in place till it dries a little bit. And then just keep wrapping the silk all the way around. And as I'm wrapping it, I want to make sure that the ribbon lies flat so that it's flush against the base of the plastic and there's no awkward lumps. And I'm just going to kind of intermittently add little glue globs as I go up so that it stays in place all the way around. When you get to the end, you want to finish it off the same way you started it. So put a little glob of glue at the base. Do one last really tight wrap around. And then hold it in place for a few seconds so that you know it's really in there. Cut it off. And then hide that end cut with one more little glob of glue on the inside of the hairband. Now your final step, once you've let the glue dry, is to try it on. Thanks for watching my video. For more flower tutorials, hit like and subscribe. Bye!